Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ryan. Today, I'm excited we get to drink some whiskey, which I like doing. I like whiskey. It makes me feel warm down in my nether regions. But we've got Wild Turkey, brand new bottle coming out of Wild Turkey. This is Jimmy Russell's 70th anniversary release. Man's been working at the distillery. Well, I say working at the distillery for 70 years. In quotations, because I have it on pretty good authority. He's kind of more like a mascot these days, just sort of like sits around the lobby. But you know, the man's a legend, all right? So I'm not going to diminish the work that he's done there at Wild Turkey. And you guys know I like Wild Turkey. I think when it comes to budget buys, 101, rare breed, they're really hard to go wrong with those pours for the money. And I have always appreciated that about them. Their, more exclusive releases can be a little hit or miss sometimes, but at least their core releases are always good for the price tag. But speaking of such things, the Wild Turkey 70th anniversary here. This is 8 years old. It's only $50. I paid $50 for this bottle, which I really appreciate. I love that they stayed true to really what makes Wild Turkey stand out in the vast ocean of whiskeys these days, because we really do have just so many whiskeys to choose from these days, don't we? Like sometimes some days it's hard to even want to go hunting an allocated bottle when we have, you go to the liquor store and you have a wall of whiskey in front of you and dozens of them are really good. It's like, well, why would I try to fight my fellow brother for my hands on a bottle that's allocated when I've got all these other great options out there? So it really makes me happy that this bottle is so affordable and available. Like I went to the store, I was like, oh, I heard this thing dropped. Let me go to the store. And they had like 50 bottles, And it's like, okay, I don't have to fight anybody for this. It's really, really obtainable. So I always like that about Wild Turkey. So we're going to do a little bit of a side-by-side comparison here today. We've got Wild Turkey 101. And, that's, $25-$30 depending on where you buy it. Well, then we have the 8-year. So this is, I think, 4 to 6 years in 101 in that blend. And then the anniversary bottle is 8 years, which is a great age for bourbon, especially Kentucky bourbon, given the climate. And then we have the 12-year. And this one I've had for a good while now, and I don't sip from it often. And it's so inconsistent for me. I remember one blind, it came in dead last. Like dead last. It lost to like a $30 whiskey. And then there was another blind where it completely won. It won out in the full blind. I don't know. Maybe we'll get a little bit of consistency here today. We'll see. So anyways, 4 to 6-year-old juice, 8-year-old juice, 12-year-old juice. Let's pour them. Let's see if this one in particular is worth picking up for you at $50. I'm not going to pour too much. I've got a business call and I'm not wearing a watch. Why would I? According to the hairs on my wrist, I think I've got about an hour and a half before my call. But that is accurate. I got a business call in about an hour and a half. So I don't want to imbibe too much because I've never spoken to this person before. And I hate to be like, hello, how are you today? You should pay me money. You know what I mean? That would probably be a bad look. I don't want to do that. Okay, we got them poured. Let's dive into them. Let's start, we'll get a little baseline here with Wild Turkey 101. And all these are 101 proof. Right? So consistency, I like that. It makes doing side-by-sides like this a lot more interesting and manageable as well. You can really see the, progression of the whiskey as it ages longer. And the nose on Wild Turkey 101, lots of mixed bar nuts, a little bit of butterscotch in here as well. A little bit of a fresh sea salt note, not a ton of oak, but let's try it. Hard to go wrong for $25. I sent these Glens through the wash, and apparently I did not notice it still had a sticker on the bottom of it from a blind that my wife poured for me. So now I've got to pull that off, and it's going to leave a nasty residue. My wife makes fun of me for this. I hate very few things in life, but stickers and crooked rugs are two of the things that I hate. Who puts stickers on products anymore? Like you take a product home, you want to put it on your shelf, you want to, have it look nice and clean. It's got this stupid sticker on it, you scratch it off, it leaves the film behind. Pisses me off. Why would you do that? Move on to like the plastic stickers that come off nice and clean. Anyways, Wild Turkey 101, one of the best budget buys out there. Right? A little nutty, very sweet. It's like you get a little oak wave at the end, but it's like you went to a wave pool for children and the wave was like bloop. You know what I mean? It's not one of the big old crashing waves. It's just a little bloop. Pretty good stuff. But here we have The Wild Turkey 8-year-old 101 anniversary bottle. One thing I noticed immediately is there's a fruity component that starts to sort of rise to the top of the nose here. And I'm kind of glad I'm getting that, quite honestly, because the 12-year-old gives me this blueberry note. Every time I drink it, I get this blueberry note. And that's one of the biggest differences between 101 and 12-year, which is twice, at least 2 times as old as the juice in this bottle. So now I get to sort of feel that progression a little bit. I'm getting a bit of a, I would say it's kind of like a cobbler, fruity cobbler note on the nose. It's somewhat savory. You know, you get that salty bread component, but you're also getting a little bit of sugar as well as this fruity note. Blueberry, blackberry, sort of a fruit of the vine kind of a note. I've heard some people say they get grape on this. I don't know that I'm going to go to grape. It's more like a berry, like a wild berry note, but there is definitely a fruitiness on the nose. But let's try it. So 3 things in particular stand out here. 1 is the presence of that fruit component. And it's there start to finish. It's not overly complex. It's not like it takes me on some winding journey from the beginning of the sip to the end of the finish. It's not overly complex, but this fruity component is definitely in there, this fruit of the vine kind of a note. That's one thing that stands out to me. Second thing that stands out to me is the oak presence is much more prevalent here. Earlier on, sort of in the mid palate, we get some of those mature oak sugars that come forward. And anyone who's had like a well-aged bourbon where you've got some older oak in there knows these oak sweetness notes that come with age. As we're extracting more of the vanillins and the tyloses in the wood are breaking down, creating these sugars, and we're grabbing more of that, pulling it into the whiskey. Love that note. That's the second thing that stands out to me. The third thing that stands out to me is that nutty component that I've come to associate with 101. It's there, but man, it kind of dive bombs, and it's not the star of the show anymore. It's sort of there just holding everything else up like Atlas lifting the world up on its shoulders. It's there. It's part of what's going on, but it's more of a supporting role, lifting everything else up on its shoulders. Yeah, fruit of the vine and the oak notes, really the stars of this show in particular. I gotta say, for $50, this is making some of those more mature notes really accessible at $50. Especially as an 8-year-old product, you know, a lot of times we tend to follow this rule of 10, like $10 for every 1 year of age on a bottle. You know, so a 10-year-old product might be $100. An 8-year-old product might be $80 to $100. This is an 8-year-old product for $50. I like that. It's making it more accessible. I gotta say, I think, like I said, it is not overly complex. I've got 3 things really that stand out about this pour, and that's about it. But that being said, it's really tasty, and it's making notes that you tend to get at a higher price point more approachable. And for that, I think this bottle is definitely worth picking up. And the final sort of iteration of this product, the 12-year-old version. And I love the bottling on this. Kind of replaces the Wild Turkey Red with this bluish purple. And it feels fairly regal, I guess. I really wanted that bottle. I paid more than MSRP for it. I think I paid $110 for that bottle. And it's not a $110 pour. I'm glad I have it. I've never really regretted it. I just kind of wanted to have it, you know? And I don't regret buying it, but moving forward, I probably won't pay above MSRP for it. That being said, oak and blueberry are sort of the things that I get the most on this. On the nose, that blueberry note, and it could be, obviously I've had this several times before, as you can see from the bottle. I share it with friends too. It's not all been me, but still, I've had several pours from this. And that blueberry note definitely comes forward, but there's also this maple and dough kind of a note that comes forward too, which makes me think of blueberry pancakes on the nose. Because I get the blueberry, I get the maple, I get that breadiness, kind of what we were getting with the cobbler on the 8-year-old, but it's been matured a little bit further, and more oak sugars are in here, so now we're going from cobbler to straight up blueberry pancakes with that maple note. Let's try it. The nuttiness is like gone. This is more confectionery sugar, very sweet. Those oak tannins, though, are starting to offset the sweetness a bit, give it a little bit of balance, because we get some nice tannic oak, sort of dries things out, while we have, you know, the oozy, drippy maple note as well. Gives it some balance. That's a really good pour. Man, I gotta tell you, this 70-year-old bottle, that's not half bad. Like I said, I like that it's making things more approachable for a buyer at $50 when you're used to spending more for those same tasting notes. I almost think it would be really cool to do like single barrel offerings of their 101 juice, which is what Rare Breed essentially is, but to do it at that 8-year-old benchmark, I think that could be a cool thing to do. But either way, this is really good, really approachable, really accessible. I recommend that you pick up a bottle while it's in season. So go to the store, see if they've got any of these laying around, and grab one. I think if I were to give it a score per my scale, it definitely gets a lot of points for being affordable and approachable and available. It's not allocated, it's not expensive, it's not hard to find, and you don't need to go like win a raffle or wait in any kind of a line to get it. That being said, it's 8 years old at $50, so it's giving you access to some more mature notes that you don't tend to get at that same price point at the same shelf. And so for that reason, it's gonna earn itself a lot of points in that regard. And I think that I'm gonna ultimately end up giving this bottle a score of 7.7. 7.7. That's really freaking good. Yeah, go buy it. Gotta buy it. I think you kind of have to while it's here. So that's my recommendation. And with that, I say, hey, thanks so much for tuning into the video. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you want to get involved in some of our events that we do, virtual bottle share, we're talking about getting some barrel picks set up as well. Some other tasting events on the horizon. Hey, check out our group. You can join the Discord for free just to get optics on things. And if you're like, I really like these people, I like this community, they're swapping bottles, sharing experiences and tips and stuff like that, and you think, I kind of want to be a part of this group, you can join the Patreon group, which gives you access to the Patreon lounge in Discord, so you get eyes on our events as well. So with that, I say, cheers, my friends. May you live richly and get better with age, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye. Sorry, I kind of rushed that outro because I got to go pick up my son from the bus.